The format for tonight's program is as follows. Each candidate will have the opportunity to present a 1-minute opening statement. Their statements will be followed by a series of questions that have been developed by the chamber and from some of you in the audience, members of the chamber who've submitted suggested questions for tonight's forum. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to the questions, and we have a very aggressive timer who is going to flash those cards for the candidates to see when you have 30, 15 seconds left and hard stop. And if you don't stop at the hard stop, you will be hearing from me so that we can move along in the program. Each district segment will end with a quick lightning round of questions that will help us learn more about the candidates on a personal but friendly level. And you'll see what I mean when we get to that part of the program this evening. In advance, thank you for being great citizens. Thank you for your attention to the courtesies this evening, but thank you for being here and taking time to inform yourself. I've always believed that a great democracy must have a well-informed society and community, and I'm getting 30 seconds, so he's on the job. But that we are in a situation where we have a window of opportunity to hear the candidates in the present, as you will this evening. And so with that, let me also underscore that if you have any suggested questions that you want to submit, I'm looking at Patty for some guidance. Patty here in the front will be able to take your question. We have several now, so we're well populated with questions, but if there's something that you must submit or want to submit, please let us know. But with that, we're going to begin with the District 1 candidates. With that, I would invite A.J. Ricci, Brandy Romero, and Ernest Glasgow to take your positions at the podium. A round of applause for the candidates. In alphabetical order now, we're going to give each of them a 1-minute opportunity to offer an opening statement. And so we're going to begin with A.J. Ricci.
Thank you, Gaddy. So again, my name is A.J. Ricci, and I am your qualified candidate for this race in District 1. I was born in this city. I received my education here in this city, and I've been here to see Orange's successes, but I've also been around to see where we've been missing the mark. And unfortunately, its residents are suffering from our mismanagement. I'm running on a platform of transparency, efficiency, and accountability, because you need all three of those. If you don't have one of those, it's just not going to work. In my professional life, I help things get done. And from there, I have a financial background as well. Orange needs someone who has seen where we've been, where we're at now, and more importantly, where we want to be in the future. And that's what I plan to do.
Ms. Brandy Romero.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for being here this evening and for hosting this event. I'm Brandy Romero. I'm running for City Council in District 1. My husband and I are raising our family here in Orange, and I want to tell you how I got started with all this is because we had an onslaught of crime in our neighborhood. My best friend's house was broken into, we had a peeping Tom, we had multiple vehicle robberies, and that's when I started a neighborhood watch, which was the largest neighborhood watch that we had with the Orange Police Department. And then I went to City Hall to find out what is happening in our town. Since then, I have done Citizens Police Academy, Leadership Orange. I'm the chair for our Parks Commission, and I have advocated for transparency for our residents, to give our residents a voice in the city of Orange. I'll be running on a platform of transparency in our city when it comes to our finances, as well as our, I'm so sorry. Transparency, I'm so sorry, I missed it. Thank you guys so much. I'll share soon.
Mr. Glasgow.
My name is Ernest Glasgow, and I'm running for the Orange City Council District 1. I proudly called Orange my home for nearly 58 years. My wife and I, who have been married for 42 years, are both graduates of Orange High School. Over the decades, I've watched the city grow and change, and I believe those changes are made Orange a better place to live. My commitment to the community is reflected in my years of public service. I've served at the OUSD Facilities Advisory Committee, 2003, 2004 YMCA Board, Orange City Traffic Commission 2012 to 15, and the Planning Commission from 2015 to 2023. I've also served on boards of members of the Union Roofing Contractors Association and as co-chair of the Union Roofers Trust Fund. My goal is to preserve the small town character that makes Orange unique and while responsible planning for growth. Old Town is the heart of our community, but our community surrounding neighborhoods deserve the same care and protection. We must also protect our neighborhoods from the corporations and LLCs purchasing single-family homes and converting them into.
Time. Thank you. So you've told us a little bit about yourselves, but let's narrow that a little bit now to the really basic and fundamental question, the core question to all of this. And we'll start with you, Ernie, on the other end. Why are you seeking election to the Orange City Council?
Our neighborhood is been overrun by Chapman students. We have 80 to 85 rental units in our neighborhood, and they're not doing anything about it. The LLCs, the corporations, and the trusts that own these properties are not responsible. They don't have a manager taking care of it, and we need to do something to protect our neighborhoods. Also, one of my other comments is, if I'm not pleased with what's going on, I need to step up and take responsibility and try to change what I'm doing. I think I did that when I was on the Planning Commission. I helped frame and shape how Orange is going for almost 12 years. So it's just one of my things to do is to be a part of the community and give back to where I've lived for so long.
And for awareness, the responses to the questions is a 2-minute window. So you have 1 extra minute to respond. So Ms. Romero, why are you running for City Council in Orange?
Actually, Ernie and I live in the same neighborhood. I 100% understand his comment about our neighborhood being overrun by our frat houses, dorm houses, and now soon to be sober living facilities. I've been very, very involved watching City Council. I've been to every meeting or watched every meeting for the last 3.5 years and truly understand the issues that our city is dealing with. I want to be able to walk my children down the street to Brewster's Ice Cream and not step over homeless people or a needle or walk along an illegal massage parlor. I want a safe city. And I truly believe that I am the voice of the people. I am the community candidate. I have built this with a grassroots effort from nothing. I'm not from Orange, but my heart is Orange. When people have issues in the city, I don't know that they're calling their council members, they're calling me. For example, when Jim's Original was trying to open and couldn't because they had an electrical pole in front of their business and Edison wouldn't come out to move it, I was the person that advocated and made sure that Edison came out and moved that electrical pole so that we could get a business open. We have a lot to do here, and I have a proven track record in this city of getting things done. Thank you so much.
Mr. Ricci.
Thank you, Gaddy. You know, I keep telling people it wasn't if, but when I would run for city council. Again, living here my whole life, we keep talking about the same issues for the past 10, 15, 20 years and just watching it. You know, in the nature of real estate, my family business, you touch a little bit of everything, whether it's planning, zoning, the police department, the fire department. So whether or not I serve in a representative capacity at city council, I'll be involved in the same issues either way. And having the time and the ability and the know-how of how municipal government works, I want to be part of that solution. Again, we keep talking about the same things. Let's say with District 1 in particular, Chapman University, homelessness, you know, you have a slew of rentals, businesses that come and go. And a lot of people throw their hands up of, you know, it is what it is. But when you understand some of the mechanics behind why these things are happening or how policy can affect it, that's where I want to step in. And more importantly, I want to bring people and say, hey, here's how it works. Because you see people online or they kind of yell into the abyss because they don't understand. I want people to be efficient with their concerns. And I want to be a shepherd to that. Like I said, I've watched it for years. It's my background. It's what I went to school for. It's just an amazing thing to be standing here and doing this with all of you and hopefully getting your confidence this coming November. But other than that, my motivation is I'm going to be here my entire life. So I might as well make it, you know, a greater place to live for myself and all of us.
Mr. Mayoral, if you were elected, what would be your top budget priorities and where would you look for efficiencies?
I think we all absolutely already know this. My top budget priorities would be economic development. Right now, the way the city is structured, it's extremely impossible. We all know, we hear it all the time. It's impossible to open a business in Orange. While the city is saying we are open for business, we're rolling out the red carpet, I hear complaints every day from businesses that come to me and say, we can't open. We have problems in our planning department. We need to get that on track, and we need to desperately work on economic development and public safety. If this sales tax does not pass, our city and our quality of life in our city, I am so afraid to see what our city becomes, right? We don't want to be Santa Ana. We don't want to be Stanton. We are Orange. We are greater than this. We need to focus on public safety and economic development, and that starts at our planning department. We currently have one person in economic development that we just hired. And so while the city is saying economic development, where is the economic development? We need a team of people currently working on this to get our city and our budget back on track. Thank you so much.
Tony?
First of all, I think the biggest budget thing we'd have to do is make sure our police and fire are paid properly. They're the lifeblood of our city. If we don't have police and fire, we doesn't care what businesses want to come in, they're not going to come in. So police and fire are the top priority. The efficiency of, I think we can get some efficiency out of our water departments and our street crews. We need to look at how they're handled and how their jobs are put out and what they're doing for that job. You drive by them all the time, you see typical guys working and 3 or 4 guys standing around. That's unacceptable. They need to all be working, they need to all be doing, and if they can't be on one site, they should be on another site doing something else. And Brandy's right, we need to look at economic development. We need to bring businesses in. Orange is not a tough place. I've opened up 2 businesses in the city of Orange, so it's not like they're not ready for businesses to be here, but we need to grab some other new stuff coming in, and we just need to find the land. We need to find the property to do it. Off of Eckhoff and Collins, they just built 2 big businesses and their distribution warehouses, I believe, is coming in there. So they're coming in. It's slow. But streamline planning is something we need to look at. But no, we need to keep our fire and our police forces up and keep them funded properly.
So Ernie, I'll go with you again. What steps would you take to put the city on a firmer and more sustainable financial footing?
I believe that we need to look at our the projects that are coming out, our roads and our pavings. And I sit on an HOA board, and we have a study every year that tells us when our projects are needed to be done. We need to look at them and say, do we really need to spend money here? Can we save money this year on not doing this road or not doing this project, and push it out a year? And that would keep money in the city to fund other things and keep the development going where we need to be.
Mr. Romero?
Would you mind repeating the question?
The question is, what steps would you take to put the city on a firmer and more sustainable, operative term, sustainable financial footing?
I feel like our city is such a mess right now that that's a tough question. I feel like in a lot of ways, we are a sinking ship. And I was asked, what would I do for my first 100 days in office? And for my first 100 days, I feel like a lot of us, the city keeps preaching transparency. It's become a buzzword, but we have so many questions that we can't get answers to. And I would spend that first 100 days sitting at the city and seeing how our city is structured. I can tell you a perfect example in us trying to create our historic preservation ordinance and the nightmare that has been with the city. And so I would start first in planning department. It's our planning department that's a huge issue. And then we also need to look at the salaries of our police officers. We are losing police officers in droves. We need to work on our public safety. I'm very close with our firefighters. They've let me know that they have the resources that they need right now and they're holding the line. But our officers, it costs us $80,000 to train one police officer, and every surrounding agency pays more than we do. So we need to look at our police officers' salaries and how we can support them, because if that police officer leaves, that's $80,000 we've just lost. And talking to our officers, we have a lot of new officers, which is also scary. We're losing talented people in our water department, which which is knowledge that you can't get back. So my first steps would be to look at all of our lower paid employees as police officers and find out, how do we maintain these people? I know that in our, down at City Hall, in City Hall, I've been told that the culture is bad. Our city employees don't feel like they're supported. It doesn't always mean a raise. We need to let our city staff know that we are here for them, we support them, and that would start with police and public safety, our planning department, and then our economic development department.
Thank you. Mr. Ricci?
I probably will not need the full 2 minutes. It's very black and white. Everything costs money. We all know that. And as a city, that is our fault. Like inflation is typically about measured, 3 to 4% per year. And you have to keep up with that in terms of sales tax, or if you're a property tax city. We have not been a property tax city for a while, and we did a little bit of sales tax, but the problem is now it's inverted to where our property tax base is now what we rely on more than what it would be for the sales tax. I said, when it comes to police, fire, and I'll echo everything else everyone talked about, good businesses, an idea, and practically free money to the city dies at the planning desk. It is horrific. We have an outdated land use table, which a lot of people don't even know what a land use table is beyond zoning. You have your zoning, of which you could do commercial, residential, what have you. And then in that, you have a list of things of businesses or types that you can do. When Ms. Romero, was opening up her store, I actually called her and say, I'm really glad you're opening up your store, because you're going to see firsthand on how unnecessarily difficult it is. I mean, she's open and everything's fine now, but I'm glad she got to see that firsthand, and I think it's given a lot of perspective as well. But the first thing we need to do is, again, update our land use table. That way, when people get to the desk, we could be the desk of yes, with a handful of, I'll say, gatekeepers at the planning department. And the word you never want to hear is, well, or that it just dies on the table. Once we have that, we'll have I'll say a better revenue to work from. That way we can actually, pay our police and fire some of the cost of living adjustments that they're asking for. It's not terribly unreasonable, but that's been our fault for not keeping up.
Thank you. Now I'm going to ask you a question that was submitted by one of the members of the audience for this evening. This is on more of a personal level, and Mr. Ricci, we'll start with you on this one, and we'll go down the row here. Tell us about a position you held in the past that you now believe was wrong. What changed your mind?
Oh, easy. Okay. Most recently, this might be one of the questions I might be getting ahead of myself, but the charter conversation. At first, I was fine with advocating for a charter, because that's what seems a lot of cities, tend to do, and it gave them a lot more control over their housing, zoning, negotiating contracts. But then when Huntington Beach recently lost that big lawsuit with the state, I kind of brought everything back together. I'm like, is having a charter really all that it's cracked up to be anymore? And beyond the term limit discussion, I kind of came to this, it's maybe now's not the right time. I'd like to, but there just wasn't enough there. That's just one example. But man, my motto has been like, I know what I know, but I'm willing to admit what I don't know. And you have to have a lot of shame in life, but in this position as well. And that will happen. You just have to be very vocal about it and say, hey, here's where I was at the time that I thought about this. So, oh, that must be my time.
No, you're good.
Thank
You're
you.
good.
That's
All right,
Sandy's.
but that's about it. Like, so there's probably a bunch more, which that's how life goes. Is just being very vocal, saying, hey, here's where I was at, here's where I was wrong with the new information I have. You got to drop the ego with some of this stuff and just stick to what's available to you at the time.
Ms. Romero, same question.
So I was very vocal in regards to the parking meters going into the plaza. I was wrong on having parking meters. I still stand by what I said about the signage. I love our historic district and our downtown area. It was very important to me to have the signs look beautiful and add to the historic character of the downtown. I wanted us to enforce the current parking regulations that we had and have 100% of that money go to the city, pay maybe our parking guys a little bit more money to stay. We were having a hard time retaining them. And I was nervous that the downtown area, that the businesses would really be affected. Well, on the contrary, as a business owner in the plaza, sales have been up roughly 30% since the parking meters went in. And the parking meters are generating about $1.5 million a year in revenue for the city. And I was so glad that the city brought back the sanitizing of our sidewalks that were absolutely filthy with those funds. So while I spoke against the parking meters, they actually have been wonderful because we don't have the complaints anymore that people can't find parking and your circle. Everybody knows there's a rule. You circle 3 times. If you don't find a spot, you move and go somewhere else for dinner. And so now people are able to find a spot. The downtown merchants and myself, we've been advocating to increase the time on the parking meters throughout the plaza and the spoke streets so that it's not just 2 hours, so that people can come and eat and shop and have time to do that. So City Council has just passed that, and hopefully we'll be seeing that in the next couple months. But yes, I say the parking meters, I was wrong on. The paid parking has actually been a blessing for a lot of the merchants.
Mr. Glasgow, same question.
I can't think of something that I changed my mind on here recently. Like Brandy, at first I was against the parking meters, but something they worked out. They're working out really well. They're bringing money into the city. Other than that, even when I was on the planning commission, there's the decisions that we had to make. I can't think of anything that I would change, anything that I'd go back on.
So Ernie, let me go with you on this next question. How would you define or describe economic development for the historic District of Orange?
It's right now, I think we have a mixed use down there. I think the bringing of restaurants into the city have been a great economic development for the city. And I can see that trending more and more. I mean, it used to be, it was full of antique shops. It was full of, stores, and now it's gone to more restaurants. I believe the economic development downtown is in really good shape. And if you ever down there during the day and at night, all the restaurants are busy. Everything's going well. I can't see anything going down there that would change. And like one thing they did, parking stops at 6, so all the dinner crowd can come down there and park for free. So,
Ms. Romero?
The downtown is thriving. It's wonderful. I absolutely love having a business in the plaza. It is my heart. I love connecting with the community. Economic development is incredible. I will tell you what happens in the summer, and it just goes to show what an asset Chapman is and their students are. Well, I know that we have our issues with Chapman. They do bring a lot of money into the downtown area. Downtown is the second largest sales tax generator for the city after the outlets. I work very hard to promote our small businesses even before I had a business down there. I have since created a group for us called the Plaza Party on the Band app so that all of us can connect, all the merchants can connect in real time. We can plan events together. We are partners together. Most folks don't realize what it's like to own a business in the plaza. It is a lot of love and tears and sweat. And we all work very, very hard to help and support each other and working on different events. I'm so excited to announce we have Treats in the Streets coming again this year, as well as a Day of the Dead event and a Halloween event. So we really all work very hard, and the downtown area is thriving. We have seen a lot of restaurants, especially in the last few months, come and go. I will tell you that rent is very high in the plaza. And it's unfortunate, but we do have so many restaurants at this point that the merchants or the restaurants have created a restaurant group because they're not making it. There's too much competition. We have 60 restaurants, probably 20 coffee shops. And so we need to look at diversifying our downtown area so that we do have more retail. People love the vintage shops. So I would hope that we would have more of that instead of more restaurants and coffee shops. Thank you very much.
Mr. Ricci, same question.
What would a Ricci know about development with historical assets in the downtown area? So the downtown, it's the best thing ever, but it is a pain in the butt in terms of it's high risk, high reward. We get phone calls all the time from businesses wanting to come in. They want to be downtown. We have a fantastic problem. Coming into the downtown, the historical buildings, it's amazing, but as we have with historic preservations, you have to, on the outside, keep it a particular way. In terms of the high rent, a lot of that comes from, yes, the demand, but there's another aspect that people forget. Property taxes, remember, entities and people die and it steps up. Same thing as you would think with Prop 13 in your own home. It applies to commercial. If it reassesses, that gets passed down to the tenant. So that's why you're seeing this big change in the downtown in terms of whether it's retail or restaurant, and it's difficult. This might be an interesting take to say for representing District 1. I want to take the focus off of the downtown, because when the calls that we get for businesses is, I don't have anything downtown, but would you take something on Tustin by chance, or Collins or Glassell or Lincoln? And like, nah, it's either Old Town or bust, which is flattering. But the problem is when you lean on one area for so many years that we've done, you can't squeeze any more out of it. And we need to start getting people outside of the plaza in terms of new businesses. The downtown will always be around. It'll come and go. It'll have a flow and mix of different businesses. And you are going to see things change, not so much from the rent perspective, but it's the property tax aspect that people forget about as different entities come and go, pass and die, and reassess. And that is the value of also having an updated land use table. That way, if you want something in particular, make it easy for the person to come in to open it.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to move to other measures that are on the ballot that some of you have referred to. And what we want to do in this section of the discussion is inquire of you whether you're for or against the measures that are on the ballot, of which there are three. The sales tax measure, the occupancy tax increase, and Charter City. So I'm just going to ask you to yes or no, up or down. Don't need to include a narrative so that we can understand or know and be aware of where you stand on these issues. So we'll go down the road here with sales tax first. For or against sales tax measure?
Against.
Yes.
Against.
We'll go the other direction. Occupancy tax.
For.
Ms. Romero?
Oh, I thought you were saying for what? Yes, absolutely. No brainer.
Yes.
Okay. Charter City. Ms. Ricci?
No.
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 Okay. Now, this is your opportunity for a closing statement. You have 1 minute to make a closing statement, and then we're going to do something a little extra so that the audience gets to know you a little better. But Mr. Ricci, we'll start with you. 1 minute closing statement.
Thank you. So I'll close with this. I really just want to give people options this coming November, because a lot of us feel that we're just not getting these options. I understand how municipal government works. I'll put in the work every day. Of course, it's a job. It's something you do every day. Like I said, you don't clock out. Like I said, you have your dais time. You have your time in the office. You're on the phone. It is a 24/7 ordeal, and I'm willing to do that. And I'm willing to go to any lengths, go anywhere to get the resources that we need. Because like I said, there's a bigger city, there's a much bigger beyond the city of Orange. I look forward to working with Dan Slater when he's mayor. He's got my full support, so let that be known tonight. And I'm running to represent District 1, but more importantly, everybody in the city of Orange. And again, I hope to have your vote this coming November.
Ms. Romero?
I want to thank you guys all so much for listening to a little bit about my story and finding out more about me. You all have built me in every single thing that I have done in this community, and all of your support. I will continue to fight for you and our voice so that we are represented at City Hall. I don't always feel like that's what's happening up on the dais, and I watch it very closely, and I've been very vocal about that. I'm accessible. I answer the phone. I give everyone in this town my cell phone number. When there's a pothole that needs to be filled, when somebody's tripping out in front of Gabby's, I'm calling Public Works. I am here to fight for us and be our voice. I'm so proud to be endorsed by our Orange City firefighters, Mayor Dan Slater, Councilwoman Arianna Barrios, Councilman Ana Gutierrez, but more importantly, our community, which is you. And I will continue to fight for us. I look forward for you guys to vote for me in November. Thank you so much.
Mr. Glasgow?
And along with that, yes, I just think that my qualifications of sitting on the Planning Commission for 12 years and the Traffic Commission kind of gives me a step up. I've already understood what the city does and how it works. I did those duties in to the best of my ability and really understood what was going on when I made my decision. I'll do the same thing as a council member. I think that we need to just bring the Old Town charm out through all of Orange and become a small community again. And that's what I'm looking to do is bring that out, but also bring in some opportunities for business and opportunities for growth in our city. Thank you.
Okay. This is called a lightning round. This is where I'm going to ask you some things that you may like or not like, or something you have in your life, in your background, you may want to share, or maybe not. But we'll get to know you this way. So, Mr. Ricci, we'll start with you. Your last book read?
The last book I read was, this is going to be really dry. It was The Basic Guide on Wire Antennas. I'm a radio operator.
Ms. Romero?
My last book read is our 80-page document for the historic ordinance. Just kidding. My last book read is a new book that just came out, written by a gentleman named DJ. He read the book's available at the Squeeze. We sell it for him at no cost to spread the word.
Okay, don't have to tell a story. Just tell us the book.
Okay, it's on segregation or desegregation of our schools in Orange, and it's awesome.
Okay, Mr. Glasgow.
It's going to be dry. I just finished negotiating union contract for the Union Roofing Contractors Association and the members. So my duty was to read the current collective bargaining agreement so we could argue it to the membership.
To you, Ernie, least favorite topic in school?
At the time, probably history, but I love history now.
Okay.
Math.
Math.
Favorite city park, AJ?
Pitcher Park.
I love Eisenhower.
Ernie?
I'm Hart Park. I just love being there. We went there as kids and swam, and it's still that small, enjoyable community, and played softball there for many years.
Ernie, your first pet?
A dog.
Cat. Oh, sorry. Go
No.
ahead.
Dog.
Okay, canine's in favor here. AJ, favorite musical artist?
Oh,
Jeez. Now?
Clock is ticking.
Big Taylor Swift fan.
Ms. Romero?
I'm an 80s kid all the way. The Cure.
Ernie?
It's either going to be The Doors or Iron Butterfly.
Okay. Okay, we're near the end here. Favorite spot in Orange? Ernie, we'll start with you.
Oh.
Favorite spot in Orange? I want to say Orange Hill Restaurant.
Okay. Ms. Romero?
Our beautiful Plaza Park. I always say that our fountain is like a siren and it calls people to it. It's magical. I love that being my view every day.
AJ?
You guys are fancy. The top level of the new parking structure on Lemon.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a round of applause to these candidates for City Council. We are now going to take about a minute break to usher in the next candidate, who I didn't see him earlier, but I hope he's arrived. He's here, I'm told. Now, let me set the table here for what's going to happen. So, Orange is so unique in so many ways. You've just heard from 3 candidates who are running for a seat in District 1. The next person we're going to visit is the candidate for District 4. Note that I said candidate for District 4, because in this case, no one filed to run against the incumbent. So we are going to have a conversation, he and I, so that you can become familiar with his position, his view, his thoughts on issues and whatnot. But it's going to be a conversation in that he has no opposition, and we will have that repeat itself when we get to District number 6. In the same situation, no one filed except for one candidate who you'll get to meet later. And so that's how it goes in Orange. It's pretty amazing, actually, because it's rare for cities. And I believe, if my memory serves me correct, the last cycle, we either had no one file for office against the incumbents or near that. But it's sort of become a trend, which is an interesting dimension of our electoral process. But that's what our society is about. And we ready? Okay.
What? I'm sorry. I'm a rude host. For those of you who need to use the restrooms, If you go out those doors and make a left turn, there are restrooms there. You go out those doors right there, there's restrooms in the next building over, just in case anyone was wondering. I'm sorry,
No,
Ambassador.
no problem. I was more worried about the timer who was flashing his 15 seconds. So, is Mr. Bilodeau here? Okay. Denis Bilodeau, incumbent in District 4 for City Council. Is he having his makeup done or what's going on here? There he is. Please, City Councilman Denis Bilodeau. I have talked about you. I have given background. I have set the table for how we're going to conduct this interview, this conversation, Denis. So we'll have the opportunity to have a little back and forth, and you won't have anyone to your left or your right to have to rotate the questions. So this is going to be a good cadence.
Great.
So you have the opportunity to make an opening statement at this time, and you get 1 minute for an opening statement.
Great. Well, thank you, Gaddy. And my name is Denis Bilodeau. I have great news. I was reelected to the city council last Friday. I have no opponent, but I will tell you, actually, that's not a good thing. I was hoping I would have an opponent, actually, because we need more people to lean in and get involved at City Hall. We have many, many positions to fill, from city council to planning commission to parks commission, and many others in traffic commission. So if you ever have the desire to get involved with City Hall, please come down and volunteer. I am this year completing my 12th year on the city council. And so this last term would be my last second 8-year hitch. I took an 8-year break between the two. And I will say that it's been an honor to serve on the council, and it's been very fulfilling for me in trying to help shape our city. Thank you.
So first question is, and you have 2 minutes to respond to each of the questions that I'm going to pose. What is your motivation to seek another term on the City Council of Orange?
Well, I think the city is in a period of transition. And when I say transition, I mean financial transition. Our property tax in the city consistently grows at about 3.5%. You know, everyone gets a 2% increase on their property tax bill every year, and then there's turnovers in properties. So that averages out to about 3.5%. The challenge we have is that sales tax has stalled. Sales tax is not growing in the city. And the reason is primarily it's because of online transactions. You see, when you go into a brick and mortar store like Walmart or Target, and you pay the 7 3/4 sales tax, 1% of that, or 1 penny, goes to the city. If you go on an online retailer, I won't mention anybody, there's one that begins with an A, I think we're all familiar with. That sales tax you pay doesn't go directly to the city. It goes into a pool up at the state, and then the state gives that money back to the cities, but it's not as you would think it would be. It's on like a per capita sales tax generation basis. So if you're like the city of Laguna Niguel and you have 2 Costco's, they're getting some of our sales tax. So that's the challenge we have, is that we have to find a way to react to this new paradigm that we live in. And unfortunately, Sacramento is not eager to fix that. You would think they could fix it, because when you go online, they have your IP address, so they know where you live, but that's not the way it works. So the city has to now pivot and try to find other ways to balance the budget.
So as a veteran member of the City Council, I don't know if you're now the most senior member of the City Council in terms of tenure, but in any event, given your status as a long-serving member of the council, what have you learned, and what do you hope to accomplish in the next 4 years?
Well, I think that we need to get the city on firm financial footing, as I mentioned. I think that's important. all is not dire at the city. The difference between a balanced budget and an unbalanced budget is like this much. In the city, as with any employer, over the year, we'll get as many as 50 vacancies, out of a workforce of about 750. And you can imagine when you're running with 50 vacancies, you're saving a lot of money. The other thing I'll say is we had a banner year when it comes to CalPERS. CalPERS just posted their annual returns and it was like 14.5%, but the assumed rate of return is 7.5%. So if you look at that spread, the city sort of made a profit of over $15 million on the money we have on deposit with them. And they have a 5-year rate smoothing. So we will garner that over time, and our required contributions to CalPERS will lessen, and that will actually help balance the budget.
Thank you. So if you could change, let's shifting gears a little bit here, more to the land use side of things. If you could change one thing in the zoning code, our zoning code, what would it be and why?
Well, much of our zoning code now is driven by new laws that have been passed in Sacramento. And much of what people can build now is by right. For instance, if you have a residentially zoned property, you have a large lot, you can by right build multiple units on that lot if you build one affordable house. So you can come in with a lot and say, hey, I'm going to build 4 or 5 houses on my lot, but one's going to be affordable. And the city has to just issue you your permit across the counter. There's no public hearing on those. So unfortunately, that's a big challenge now for the city. We haven't had too much of that occurring at the city, but for the most part, because of the laws that have been passed down from Sacramento, I think the city has kind of lost control of the zoning code. But I think the pendulum will swing the other way. I think that because of the hundreds and hundreds of housing units you're seeing being built, I think that the housing market is going to stall. And as a result, I think there's going to be a backlash against Sacramento because there's going to be overproduction of housing. So,
given the boundaries of District 4, this question I think is apropos. What is your vision for the Tustin Avenue corridor, and how can it be improved for the business community as well as the residents?
well, the city recently instituted a new signage program for businesses. I think it's a 50-50 match program if they want to put in new marquee signage on your business to kind of spruce things up along Tustin Street. Also, one thing that's been a big point of frustration with me is at some point the city changed the plant palette on our city trees, and they took out all those beautiful ficus trees and they put in those little twiggy palm trees. I hate that. I think that one thing that I've been focused on is we got to put some thought into the aesthetics of Tustin Street. We are right now developing a specific plan for Tustin Street, and that's going to include new landscaping. The street medians are stamped concrete. It's disgraceful. They need to be landscaped. So the one big thing the city can do is it could focus on the aesthetics of the street, and we need to recruit and attract new businesses, new retail businesses. We've been really struggling with that. And as a result, there are empty buildings along Tustin Street, and that's not a good thing.
So shifting gears a little bit again, and one of the things we did this evening is we solicited questions from the audience, and I'm going to take one of these questions that was submitted, and it can apply really to the entire body, but you having the experience that you have, the question is this: what is your plan, or what is your thought on how to recruit and retain qualified City of Orange employees when many city positions pay well below the median salary in Orange County? How will you ensure the city remains competitive in attracting and keeping the staff needed to provide essential services to the residents of Orange?
Well, I have good news that in the last 2 years, we have recruited and retained a whole new management team of the city. We have a new city manager, new city attorney, We have a new planning director. We have a new economic development director. And we had to pay these people well and sort of poach them from other entities. In terms of, we're very focused on public safety, on police and fire services. And I've always felt that you're much better off paying these people a little bit more because it's a fortune to recruit and train a new cop or a new firefighter. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's incredible because you have to put them through academies and things. So we really try our best to make sure that we're staying up with the market. I don't think we're actually that far below market now on, I know on public safety. I know in the planning department, it's very hard to retain people because people get recruited by the private sector, by home builders and things like that. So it's very hard to recruit and retain people that are very good land use planners, but that's just a function of the market.
Next question on land use and housing. California continues to require cities, you've made reference to it, to plan for additional housing. How should Orange meet these mandates while preserving the character of neighborhoods in District 4? Thoughts on that?
Yeah, as I mentioned, there have been several bills now that have been passed for density bonus laws that make it by right that you can build several units on a property now if you designate one or two of the units as quote affordable. And it's interesting because the developers that I've met with, they'll tell me that, yeah, that one affordable unit, that's kind of like, we lose money on that one because we have to sell it at a loss, but they get to build so many more units. It's a challenge for us. And they can only do that on properties that are currently zoned residential, not commercial. But the only thing that we can do is we can strictly enforce the other zoning code standards, such as parking, setbacks. We can still enforce those, but we can't enforce density. It's the density bonus laws, and we've sort of lost control of that because of the Sacramento laws that have been passed. And also, the Southern California Association of Governments, they're the ones that come out with the RHNA numbers, the Regional Housing Needs Assessment numbers. And those are the numbers that are forced down our throat that we need to produce more housing. Unfortunately, it seems that Orange County was sort of penalized, and our numbers are much higher than other areas in the Southern California region. I know there's been some lawsuits over that, but I think they've been largely unsuccessful.
Final general question, and this is out of your district, but you were a decision maker in this regard. How do you feel about the paid parking downtown? How's that working out?
Well, I could say, well, I've been to downtown twice this week, and I found parking very readily. I will say that it certainly has helped with turnover of vehicles. I actually voted no on the parking meters, and the reason why I voted no is because there was already signage up that said that you could only park for 2 hours, but it wasn't being enforced. And a lot of the businesses, the employees of the businesses downtown knew that. So the employees were parking right on the street in front of the businesses. So they had to be chased out of there somehow. And if the city wasn't willing to, our police officers are not meter maids, and they weren't going to get engaged in giving out parking tickets all day. They got much more important things to do. So unfortunately, I voted no, but it appears to be working and working very well because there's certainly a lot of parking now that's available. And it is certainly generating revenue for the city.
Great. So Denis, what we'd like to do now, as you know, there are 3 measures on the ballot that relate to taxes, TOT, and city charter. So I would just like for you to share with the audience where you stand on each of these. So let me ask you, sales tax measure, Measure I. Pro, con, aye, nay?
I voted against putting it on the ballot, although I don't have a problem with the people making their own decision. I felt that the city tried a half a cent measure 2 years ago. It barely failed. It failed by about 450 votes, I think. But to come back 2 years later with one that's 1 cent, to me, that question was already asked and answered. And there is money that has to be spent on this, on educating the public on what's what. So I didn't feel that it was appropriate to come right back. And I know that there's a lot of sensitivity right now to the cost of living.
Measure J, the TOT tax, for, against?
I haven't decided on that one yet. So you know, the city's bed tax for hotels is 10%. In Anaheim, all in, I believe it's 17%. It's 14 plus another 3. So the city's actually a bargain for the tourist community to come and stay in. And because of that, it's sort of easy pickings for the city. I mean, because none of you will pay that tax. It's the people visiting the city. But then you have to weigh the moral dilemma of that. You know, what if you have guests from out of town or visitors, and they're the ones going to be punished with this tax?
Okay, see, that's the benefit of being solo flyer up there.
Yes.
Because you have no one else to. So what about Measure K, city charter?
So I
Pro or
did vote.
con?
I did vote to put the city charter on the ballot, and I will be voting for it. I think the city charter gives the city some maneuvering room around some of the nonsense that is imposed on us by Sacramento. I know that the city of Huntington Beach is constantly in lawsuits with the state. They're a charter city. I don't see the city of Orange engaging in any of that, but there are some benefits with being a charter city in that in contracting and in having local rule and in getting around some of these crazy mandates that Sacramento puts down on us.
Great. Okay, so now we're going to do a lightning round so that we get to know you a little better. Non-policy stuff, but we just want some brief answers of identifying certain things that help sort of portray you. And so we'll do this rather quickly, but we'll start easy. Favorite city park?
Favorite city park? I'd have to go with Eisenhower Park, which is right near my home.
Favorite sports team?
Well, the Montreal Canadiens hockey team is my favorite sports
okay.
team.
Favorite food?
Favorite food? Pretty much all Mexican food is my favorite.
Good answer. From a Vasquez, that is. Your first pet?
Oh, my first pet? That was my cat, Mason. Yes.
Your favorite band?
My favorite band? I have so many. I just went and saw Duran Duran recently, so I'll have to throw out Duran Duran.
Okay. Favorite world leader?
Favorite world leader? You know, I was asked this question 4 years ago up here, and I'll give you the same answer. It's Zelensky. I mean, what a leader he is to stand up against Russia for his people.
Well, thank you for that. I think I gave you a closing statement, or I will. If I haven't, did I give you? No. Let's do one closing statement. You have 1 minute
Okay.
to offer a closing statement.
Well, I'm probably the happiest guy in the room tonight because I don't have an opponent. I will say the old man on the council will be John Demetrio, and he's sitting in the back row. He actually has the most time on the council. He's a couple years beyond me. But a little quirk I should make you aware of is I'm actually on the ballot for the California Board of Equalization this November. You'll see my name on the ballot. I'm trying to step up my game. I'm trying to move to a higher office that'll give me the ability to have more impact on the lives of Californians. And so don't be shocked if you see my name in there twice. Unfortunately, I tried to get my name removed from the city council, but being on the ballot, but it's not allowed, unfortunately. The city clerk will attest to that. And I just want to thank the people of Orange for putting their faith in me. And I try really hard. I go on Sunday nights and pick up trash along Tustin Street, and kind of like Mayor Slater does, and along Chapman Avenue. And you know, I just try to make the city look the best it can be. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate Councilman Denis Bilodeau. Thank you so much. We'll take a minute or two. And I do want to acknowledge Councilman John Demetrio, who's here. I think he's the only person, council or former mayor, who is here this evening that I see in the audience. But thank you, John, for being here as well. We'll take just a moment and we'll meet the next I'll say candidate, but we are going to be in the same situation. There will be one person at the podium in that no one filed to run for this seat except one person. There was no incumbent in this seat. And so you're going to get to meet this new fresh face that will be on the city council in Orange. Let me also take a moment to introduce one of the trustees of the Rancho Santiago Community College District, a longtime public servant, doing great work, Mr. John Hanna. John, thanks for being here tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce to you tonight Brendon Moeller, District Number 6 candidate, who is running a very vigorous campaign because he's the candidate who is going to be serving as a new city council member in District Number 6. And so, Brendon, we want to, first of all, welcome you and thank you for your willingness to step into the arena to pursue public office. And obviously, the circumstances and conditions under which you will now enter public service are somewhat unique because it's a very rare occurrence, but it speaks, I think, well of your capacity and ability. So we're going to go through some questions more in a conversational kind of a way, and we'll see where it takes us. But this is an opportunity for you to make an opening statement of 1 minute to greet the audience this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, welcome to District 6. So thank you guys for coming out here. So a little bit about me. Grew up here in Orange, third generation resident, graduated USD schools, went to West Point after a year here. Was in the Army for 8 years, 3 combat deployments, came back in 2021. Got involved in the city on a commission, the Creek Commission, before that CDBG committee. And the seat was open. So threw my hat in the ring and here we are. Turns out you guys won't be getting a ton of mailers from me. So that's good for you and keeps things cheaper for me. So why am I running? Honestly, fresh perspective, someone from the community that moved back to the community, someone that cares. Honestly, I just wanted to help. Had a lot of ideas and vision for what we can do economic development wise. So threw my hat in the ring and here we are. So thank you.
Okay. So as a new council member and you have materials, you have a website, you have all of these things, and that's all packaged and it looks all very nice.
Yeah.
But tell us something about you that we should know that maybe that material doesn't reflect.
I mean, I don't want to, I guess the Army stuff.
This
but
is a
yeah,
getting
all
to
over
know you
everything.
kind of question.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say I'm kind of a nerd, actually. I'd say that's probably a plus in this aspect. Big history buff, like, open space and trails, live next to that. So really enjoy that too. I think that speaks to kind of the calling, I guess, to go to West Point and be in the Army. And I think kind of why I felt like a direction to come do this, run for office too. So.
Well, that's a good segue to the next question because obviously the achievement of having gone to a military academy is a very high honor and privilege and a testament to your hard work and dedication. So for that, we thank you and honor you for your service and all that you've done. But because I've been to the military academies and after seeing the procedure, the protocols for how you had to eat in the big hall at the Naval Academy as a plebe, I decided, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. Can you share perhaps some of the skills and experience that you possess today that will make you an effective council member? And maybe some of the things that you took away from your journey and life experiences in the military or the academy or otherwise?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd like to say it probably started here in Orange, actually. In high school, I was on the track and cross country team. Nobody likes running, but so it's a mental thing, right? So going through cross country practice, cross country meets, it's just a mental thing to get through the running. All down Taft, through Mayberry Ranch, into Santiago Oaks Park, down to Irvine Regional Park and back. And I think that mental fortitude got me through not only not getting into West Point the first time, coming here, reapplying, and then being at West Point, getting through West Point. It's the time management, it's the discipline. But while you're in the military too, it's the same thing. But at that point, you're leading soldiers, you're leading troops. And for me, the highlight of that was not just the people you meet, but the 3 deployments that I did. When you're in garrison, you're training to deploy. But when you're deployed, you're actually doing your mission. And for me, that was the highlight. And my last deployment, I was a strategic planner for Somalia, actually, with our Joint Special Operations Task Force. And that was really pivotal and really kind of a great capstone for my military experience. Because for me, it showed me how to make a big picture, long-term plan, break it down into smaller milestones and have assessments off that. And I think that's something that I would really like to apply with a long-term big picture plan for economic development with the city. So I think that's directly how that led to that. But it started here actually, but it continued on, so.
And as you step into this new role, what are some of the most immediate priorities that you will have as a council member representing this beautiful district number
Yeah.
6?
So two things for me. One is economic development. It's not a District 6 problem, it's a City of Orange problem. We need to be developing more business all throughout the city. The budget isn't just one district's budget, it's the entire city's budget. So that's number one, is getting out there, seeing how we can redevelop land, redevelop businesses that are blight. I really like that there have been pre-existing plans to redevelop areas along Catella and Tustin Street. I think those are a good start because the city's gonna survive and thrive based off honestly what happens outside of Old Town. So we need to put some investment and some focus on economic development outside of Old Town, just in terms of getting us to where we need to be as a city. And then the second thing is wildfire. Wildfire is my main concern. I remember in 2007, we all remember the fire that came through Irvine Regional Park and Santiago Oaks Regional. That's where I live now. So for District 6, it's extremely important to make sure that our preparedness for fires, preparedness for crime, whatever it is properly funded so we're ready when it happens, because it's not when it's going to happen. It's not going to be if it happens, it's going to be when it happens. So yeah, I don't want a repeat of that. So
How do you assess the need to have relations with neighboring cities? District 6 is bordered by Villa Park, Anaheim, Tustin, County Unincorporated. How important is that as a process of governance?
Oh, I think it's pivotal, right? So, and actually part of some of my pitch myself right now, I was endorsed by the Anaheim Hills Councilwoman, the entire Villa Park City Council, Orange County Supervisor Don Wagner. So those relationships exist. But I think I've already talked to some of them about what were some good things you saw that you did when you're on council. How could we in Orange work better with you to do things like wildfire? I also mentioned things like traffic coming from the toll road up and over Weir Cannon or Serrano into Anaheim Hills, people cutting through to the 91 freeway. And just obviously business development. We see what's going in Anaheim with OC Vibe. There's a lot of opportunity that Orange can pitch into that over by the movie theater on our side. So things like that, working collaboratively, not necessarily competitively, will benefit both of our cities and areas. So, yeah.
One of the opportunities for tonight's forum was to give the audience an opportunity to submit questions.
Mhm.
And we have one question that's directed at District 6. And I'm paraphrasing, I'm condensing it quite a bit because it goes into a lot of detail. But the question is do you support the preservation of the remaining 14.46% or 3.73 square miles of undeveloped land and the improvement of land use policy and practices to safeguard the health and well-being of current and future residents and prevent citywide extinction of our beloved local wildlife? If so, how would you propose to accomplish this?
Public land, yes. If it's privately owned.
Private.
On private land? You're talking
If you were confronting a the way I interpret the
okay.
question is that if you were confronting a project that is on the scale of what is being built to the east end of town, the last frontier of the community, is how much of a priority would that be in terms of preserving what remains of open space?
Yeah, I mean, I think preserving open space, having been on the Creek Commission, that's what we want to do. That's what we worked on the past 3 years on the Creek Commission. I was chair 3 terms in a row on that. But I also, if it's private land, I can't, that's a different thing. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Good.
I can't tell a private landowner what to do with their land, so.
Right. But some collaboration might be possible.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, exactly. We don't want anything crazy. And we also want to prevent situations like builder remedies from coming in and doing the complete opposite of what we want when we could work collaboratively and meet somewhere in the middle.
So small business make up the lifeblood of Commerce.
Mhm.
Do you have a plan or thoughts on how to attract, retain, and promote small businesses in the city of Orange? Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you just start looking at a map. It's geographic, right? We have access to lots of freeways. We have 3 hospitals. We have 2 colleges. We have 140,000 residents. To me, it's a geographic thing, and it's an opportunity that I don't think we leverage enough. I think, for an example, I think there's obviously different districts in the city, but different areas and different characters that contribute to those sectors. But I also think that there's a vision that we need to come up with collaboratively with the public and with each district and residents of what we think that those areas look like, not right now, not in 10 years, but what they look like in 20 years. So we can start planning for the revenue and the businesses that we want to see there, and then work to incentivize getting in that direction, because that's how we'll grow our revenue long-term, and fix the financial situation we see ourselves long-term and permanently.
So what we've done with the others and want to do with you in this case is want to get your views or whether you're for or against the measures that are going to be on the ballot related to sales tax, occupancy tax, and charter city. So I'd like to ask you, measure I, for or against?
I do not want to be in a situation where we're defunding any wildfire combative measures or emergency preparedness. So for me, measure I is a Band-Aid to fix a financial problem that needs to be solved through progressive economic development solutions. But to get us there and mitigate risk on the east end from wildfire, I would personally vote yes.
So you're anti or against the sales tax?
I would vote yes on the sales tax.
You would vote yes.
Yes,
Okay. And on the TOT tax?
I would vote yes.
Okay. And city charter?
I would vote yes.
Okay. So now we go to the easy part. This is the lightning round, where we want to get to know you as a person. And so I'm just going to ask you some questions and just respond in, one word or two, very brief. A couple of the others have
Sure, as
explained
long
their
as it's
premise and
nothing
all
pop
that kind of
culture
thing.
related, because I
Okay.
will not do well.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, there's too many. Favorite movie. As a kid, I was obsessed with Gladiator and The Patriot, so I'll stick with that. Those are
Which
good
one?
ones. The Gladiator and The Patriot.
Okay.
Those ones were good ones.
Favorite musical artist?
Oh yeah, pop culture is not. Let's just go with. I don't know. I just listen to whatever my brother or sister tell me to listen to.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah. I don't want to ponder too
Your
long.
first car?
My first car was a 1991 Camaro, red convertible.
Oh, that was my first car too, but not a convertible.
That was for high school until my brother totaled it. So there we go.
Favorite park? And you have many to choose from in
Oh.
District 6.
Yeah, I'll say any park in District 6 is my favorite park.
Okay. Before you ran for city council, what was your favorite park?
The one I live next to. So it'll either be Santiago Oaks or Fred Barrera Park.
Okay. Favorite place in Orange?
District 6.
This is why there's nobody running against him, folks. Hobbies?
Hobbies, hiking, news junkie, like to play video games sometimes. So things like that. Those are good hobbies, yeah.
Your last book read?
Now, this is true, so don't think I'm lying, because I was preparing for this, but I'll say like the Orange General Plan and the Orange Park Acres specific plan.
Was your last book read?
Well, not book, but something I read. Yeah. I count. I think
All
it
right, you're a
counts.
graduate of military academy. Who
Yeah.
is your favorite military hero or leader?
Patton. Yeah. And I not just because the movie and he's cool, but he's a Southern California native from LA. So I gotta keep loyal there. So yeah, Patton.
Thanks, Brendon.
Thank
We're
you.
going to give you 1 minute to get a closing statement.
Sure. Absolutely. So first off, I want to thank you, Ambassador, for hosting us and being the moderator for this. I want to thank the Chamber for having this event. I want to thank SCC for having me back here and all these years later for this event. And I also want to thank you all in the audience for being here, willing to listen, participate, and be educated on stuff that's going on in the city in terms of candidates, issues. And also, I'll be around after with my contact card. Feel free to reach out to me with anything, especially if you're a District 6 resident, reach out to me if there's anything you need to talk to me about, a concern. I want to be accessible and I want to be transparent on what I'm doing. And so I hope you guys will come up to me and get the contact card from me. So with that, that's all I have. And I know we can get onto the mayoral stuff next, which is, I'm looking
Ladies and
forward to.
gentlemen, the newest member of the City Council right here in Orange. Well done. So we will take just a couple of minutes and invite the mayoral candidates to join us momentarily. Everything good out there? Can hear us? Everything's good? Good. Okay. To the candidates, we're going to take just a couple minutes to let folks settle in. Yes, feel free to stand and exercise if you wish. Thanks. Thanks. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm good. I've got some. Just a reminder, no audio, no video recording during these sessions, as was announced at the beginning. We appreciate your cooperation with that. Thanks so much. We're going to give you just a couple more minutes, and then we'll begin the forum with our mayoral candidates. No, I've got water. 1 minute. And while we're waiting, I also want to acknowledge, because he's very modest, but former Councilman Mike Alvarez is with us here this evening as well. Mike, good to see you this evening. All right. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll begin the section on the mayoral candidates. Councilmember Arianna Barrios and Mayor Dan Slater are the two candidates who are running for this office. And you can give them a round of applause, and then we'll hold it after that. So with that, we go alphabetically here. So we're going to have a 1 minute opening statement, and we'll begin with Councilmember Barrios.
Well, thank you, Ambassador. As you said, my name is Arianna Barrios. If you don't know me, I represent District 1 in the city of Orange, which is Old Town. And first of all, what I'd like to say is whether or not you have lived here for generations in the city of Orange, or you got here as soon as you could, I think that what we can all agree upon is that Orange is a special place that we all love, but our home needs help. After years of fiscal instability, trying one thing after another, scant economic growth, we need to go in a different direction. And that is why I decided to run for mayor. As a business owner, I know how to balance a budget. I know how to take risks when necessary, when to hold back, but also when to say no, and I think that's really important. And finally, I would just say that my top priorities are reducing the city debt. Our debt is overwhelming us. We need to stop deficit sending, and we need to institute a strict fair share policy that ensures that everybody in the city, resident and business alike, pays their fair share for city services and for everything that we love about Orange.
Thank you. Mayor Slater.
Thank you, Chamber of Commerce, for hosting this event. When I was elected mayor less than 4 years ago, I promised to protect Orange taxpayers and bring common sense to City Hall. With the help of my colleagues, we've delivered a cleaner, safer city with crime down 35%. Homelessness has decreased. Illegal street vendors were eliminated. We've increased code enforcement and are addressing the proliferation of smoke shops and massage parlors. We finally placed an emphasis on our Central Park, Santiago Creek, resulting in 45 acres of permanent open space added. We're working on an additional 70. We're finally facing our financial challenges and have greatly reduced our budget and workforce. We still have work to do, but the progress is very measurable. I love this city, and I'm respectfully asking for just one more 2-year term so I can finish the job.
Thank you, Mayor. So both of you have made some references to why you're seeking this office, but can we drill down a little bit more and give us some elaboration on why it is that you are seeking re-election or election to the mayoral office of the city of Orange? So Mayor, can you elaborate on the things that are important that have motivated you to want to seek re-election?
So my family has been in Orange since the 1800s, and my family has always loved the city. I grew up here. The city is near and dear to my heart. This city is very, very special. From the west side to the east side, it offers so much different opportunities, so many different unique neighborhoods. I want to make sure that Orange stays Orange, because this is the city that we all love. And we still have work to do, clearly. Although we've made so much progress, clearly we have a budget problem looming over us. And that is why the council has stepped up and put a sales tax measure on the ballot for November. I hate taxes. I hate paying those checks every year. I run a small business. I've done so for 40 years. But unfortunately, we're in a situation that we can't get out of. We will get out of it, but it's going to take years of deliberate economic development. We're laser focused on economic development right now, but that takes time to rebuild. In the meantime, if we don't do something like pass the sales tax measure, the TOT tax that's on the ballot, the city is going to have to drastically and further reduce services, and that means cutting into the muscle. We've already cut through the fat. All we've got left is the muscle. So I don't want to see that happen to our city. You know, do we want a mediocre city or do we want a really great city? And that's really what the choice comes down to. And that's why I am so looking forward to serving the city just 2 more years on the city council. And we've done a great job, and I want to make sure the job gets done.
Councilmember Barrios? Same question.
Thank you. While I agree we have made some progress, we haven't made nearly enough progress. And part of the reason why is because we continue to do things the same old way. So most people need an example when I say that, but I have a very specific example. Just earlier this week, we had a city council meeting, and as part of the sales tax measure, we were discussing an auto rebate program. That sounds great. It's going to be a win-win for both residents and for the auto dealers. We have 5 big ones in the city. But when you look just beneath the surface, it is a tired, old idea that locks out about half of our population. So why do I say that? We have 5 auto dealers, one of which is the 2nd largest Toyota dealership in the country. Not the county, not the state, the country. But you've left out all the individual independent owners. You've left out all the people who are lower income, who may not have great credit, who would also probably like to take advantage of a tax rebate if they could get it. but we just work with the same old people. So once again, it is only the feared and the favored who get the benefit of these deals. We need to stop these sweetheart deals. And no one is talking about what happens if the sales tax doesn't pass. That is going to be a catastrophe. We are 3 to 4 years away from insolvency. We have a major supplier of tax revenue in SC Fuels that has already told us they plan to leave within a decade. If the sales tax passes, we have 13 years. And that's not 13 years that we can wait and try and figure it out. It is 13 years where we have to motor and make sure we are prioritizing right. We are not throwing away money on exorbitant salaries, that we are tightening the belt, and that we are doing some things that I admit are going to hurt. And I'm not going to lie to you. Some of these things are going to hurt, and they've already hurt. But we have to be realistic. We have to face the fact that we need to live inside our means, if not under it, if we're going to protect and save this city.
Okay, one of the things that we've done in preparation for this forum is to solicit questions from the audience. And I'm going to use 2 of those questions. The first one is, what is your plan then to improve the city of Orange's financial health and ensure that it remains on sound economic footing moving forward? Councilmember?
One of the interesting things if anyone's watched any of our budgets debates, is that we present it like this. Here's our revenue, here's our expenses. Look, they almost match. That is not true. Because on the next page, what they show us is, here is your debt. Now, you and I, we have to pay our debt every month, every year. You have to pay your credit card, you have to pay your mortgage, you have to pay your car payment. You must do that. That is a non-negotiable. So instead of looking at it as here's revenue and here's expenditures, we need to start with here's your debt. This is what we pay first. So from there, you add on here's your revenue. And if your expenditures between those two are if that's too high, then you start right there. We're not deficit spending. We're going to live within our means. What does that mean? Does that mean we might lose some people at the city? Yes, it might. Does it mean that services are cut? We're already cutting services. That's why we're not having our city events. But then we are honest, we are open with our residents, we tell them what has happened, we communicate those transparently, and then we work towards those solutions. It will not always be that way. It will be that way until we can get out from under the enormous amount of debt that we are currently holding as a city.
Mayor?
I'm an optimist and a problem solver. Ever since I was elected mayor, we have zeroed in on economic development because that is the organic way that we're going to get out of this mess. Yes, we can increase taxes. I would much rather not do that. The right way is through economic development. And just in the paper today, it was stated that our area in Orange County has surpassed Silicon Valley in terms of economic viability and production in the state of California. That is so huge, and Orange is right in the middle of that. One of the things that most people don't know is that we just announced that a new company called Axis Product Development, an advanced manufacturing company, has signed a lease and obtained a city business license. This company will produce over $230 million a year in revenue, which means $2 million a year in sales tax to the city of Orange. Their customer base includes SpaceX, Origen, Northrop, such and so forth. They produce space products. Additionally, Toyota of Orange is actually doing an expansion right now that is projected to bring another $100 million a year into Orange in car sales revenue. Again, that's an additional $1 million a year. So again, we are so focused on economic development. Yes, if the sales tax measure doesn't pass, it's not rocket science. We're going to have to reduce more staff than we already have. So I'd rather look forward. And also, I'll tell you, on the west side, we have so much potential. We're actually looking at, we're contacting the people that do the air taxis that are going to be online in another year or two. And so we're looking at putting a vertiport in West Orange to get landing fees.
Okay, so shifting gears a little bit, but in that same vein and from the audience is the following question. Mayor, we'll start with you. Why is the Orange City Council so reluctant to bring cannabis dispensaries to the city as a way to increase revenue and reduce the deficit like many other cities, i.e. Laguna Woods, Los Alamitos, Santa Ana? Why is the council so reluctant? That's how they characterize it. I don't know. I ask you, Mayor, and then we'll
All
ask
right.
the council member.
That's a great question. When I was going through chemotherapy when I was 19 and had cancer, my doctor recommended that I use marijuana. And in the late 70s, that was shocking to me, but it was the only alternative to keep food down. So I reluctantly did it, and it works. Medicinal marijuana is really beneficial to patients that need it. I am open to considering cannabis shops in the city of Orange, but we have to do it right. There's so many cities that are not doing it right. Santa Ana, for instance, I don't think there's any limit on the number of shops. If we had 3 or 4 quality shops that know what they're doing and it's not going to be a crime problem, I think this is something that the city of Orange should take a close look at. We have hospitals in our city. Think of all the patients that could benefit from having, being able to purchase cannabis. So I am open to the idea. I think the city should closely look at it. It would truly be an awesome revenue source as well.
Council member?
It is a great question. It is not something I'm against in any way. And I think actually Councilmember Dimitru, who's here, I think he brought it up at one of our council meetings. Within that, the mayor mentioned it, and he got about halfway there, that yes, we have hospitals in our cities. So what we could do specifically is geofence, for lack of a better term, cannabis and put it in by ordinance just within our hospital district. Because right now, when you think about it, for those who need that type of relief, pain medications within cannabis, we can build and have built in the hospital area, so people aren't going right across our border into Santa Ana in order to buy these products. I actually had the opportunity last week to go meet with one of the largest cannabis distributors in Santa Ana. The store was enormous. And for the 8 stores that he currently have, and I am not advocating for 8 stores in Orange, but 3 of those stores generate $1 million a month, free and clear. So when you think about what that can do for tax revenue, yes, we can be protective. We have a built-in audience for it, and we have a college. We have a couple of colleges. So, I'm just saying. So there are opportunities there, and we need to move ahead on these ideas that have just stymied for a long, long time, that we've just been afraid of. So I think that that's an absolutely great idea.
So I must follow up with this then. Has it been deliberated, council, and it hasn't moved, or?
Only briefly. It was just brought up as like an idea, and we talked about what the parameters might be, but we didn't move it forward to have a full discussion.
It's been discussed that it is something that we want to look at.
Okay, good. Thank you. Let's talk a little bit about style and leadership. How would you describe your style and your form of leadership as mayor and/or city council member? How do you lead? Mayor, let's start with you.
So a leader is only as effective as they can get things done. So I see myself as a consensus builder. I have worked very, very hard over the last 3.5 years to bring the council together, to work with the council, to listen to everything my colleagues have to say, to try to build consensus. What are the things that we all want to accomplish? And quite frankly, 80% of the time we agree and we want to have the same goals in mind. We have made tremendous progress, and quite frankly, the council has been pretty much unanimous or close to it on most of those measures. So again, you're only as effective a leader as you can be to get things done, and you've got to work with your colleagues to accomplish that.
Let me follow up a little bit on that, and I'll amend it to the council member as well. So how do you manage the interaction that you require to have as mayor, because it's a unique role in the context of the city council. How do you manage those relationships to try to be productive? To you as a
Okay.
follow-up.
So again, whenever a council member has had an issue, I am more than happy to engage with them. I want to listen to them because they're elected by the people. Every district in Orange elected a leader. So I have an obligation to work with that person, to respect their viewpoint, to respect what they have to say, because everybody's opinion from here to here adds value to our city and to our council if we just work together.
And just to clarify, the context of my question is because we have council districts and we have a mayor elected citywide, that's why I'm posing the question, because I think it is an important insight into a style of leadership. So council member, same questions.
Yeah, I think it is a really good question because our styles are very, very different. I would be the first person to say to anybody that Mayor Slater is probably one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. I am not so nice. I will be completely open about that because we are past time for nice. We are in a place of action. We need people who are doers. We need people who will roll up their sleeves and get things done, who will lead by example to get off your butt and go do something. And I'll give you a perfect example. I've said this before, that one of the hardest votes I ever had to take, because we're cutting and cutting and cutting, is we cut all the special events in the city. When we did that, I did not just throw up my hands and go, okay, well, I guess that's over. No. I worked with my good friend Brandy Romero and we saved treats in the streets for all the children of Orange. I rolled up my sleeves. I helped raise all the money. We paid for it completely and entirely, and it was bigger than it had ever been before. And that is leading by example. That is getting out and getting the work done and showing people that it can be done, because that's who Orange is. Orange is a city of volunteers. We are a city of doers. We don't wait around. We see a need and we fill that need. And now is the time. The other part of that equation is also, yes, there is a time for consensus. There's a time for that nice, quiet relationship building, but we've been taken advantage of by a lot of different companies. And it's time that that ends. So another great example, St. Joseph Hospital. When they wanted to do their example, and I was born in that hospital, when they wanted to do their expansion, what was written into that deal was you will move your procurement here to Orange and you will do all of your procurement, millions and millions of dollars worth of procurement here in Orange. That was 7 years ago. You want to take a guess? If we've collected a single dollar? No, because nobody even knew that contract existed. So it is time to stop being nice and to hold people accountable.
Okay. Next question, and we'll start with you, council member. How do you plan to fund the city's key department and services, such as police and fire, while trying to balance the budget?
A lot of people have heard me talk over the years, and this has kind of evolved where when I first got on the council, I was talking as we started uncovering that there were all these budgetary issues that I had been calling for a forensic audit. And that has morphed over time with, is it a forensic audit we need? Do I think that there's been fraud? Do I think that there has been some type of nefarious shenanigans going on? Not so much. What I look at now is we need organizational assessment. My council colleague, Mr. Gillenhammer, had been hammering away about the library. Why, if we're not the biggest city in the county, are we paying for our libraries the same way Huntington Beach or Anaheim is, $6 million a year? We did an organizational assessment, scientifically driven, with facts, with figures. We looked at the library. Lo and behold, the library was being staffed the same way the fire department was, mandatory minimum staffing. Makes no sense. Just by looking underneath the cover and finding those things that we could save money on, we went from $6 million to about $4 million. And I think that we can save other departments by looking at every single department and finding those savings everywhere, because I know they are there.
Mayor?
So when I came onto the city council 4 years ago, we had budgeted for 170 sworn police officers. Today, we only have 150. We are down about 15 police officers. Despite that, they've still been able to reduce crime because we provided them with the technology and tools that they need. So this, and then also add to that the fact that because we're paying below median for all of our employees, we're losing employees left and right. A city manager just told me today that we're going to lose another 3 police officers to Newport Beach. And so basically our city is a training ground. They get trained here and they leave. So we have got to get to a point where we can hire the correct number of police officers. So what we're suffering with, because we are down in officers, is parking enforcement, traffic enforcement. Homeless is not getting the same attention that we would if we were fully staffed with 165 officers. So this is again why we have this big revenue problem. We've got to be as efficient as possible in every department, and there's still a couple of departments where we can create more efficiencies, particularly in the finance department. So, but that's going to require obtaining new technology. That costs money. We had to take from some of our reserves for technology so that we could balance the budget this year. We did pass a balanced budget this year, but it had to come partially from reserves for other things like vehicles and technology. That's not acceptable.
Okay, so we're going to talk about measures, ballot measures, 3 to be specific. And I'm basically for the audience and those who are viewing to familiarize themselves with your positions on the measures. I'm just going to ask each of you to voice your support or opposition to, first of all, the local sales tax measure, which is I, correct?
Yes.
I got that right? I, Mayor, for or against?
4.
Councilmember?
Mixed. I have mixed feelings about it, but I would say mostly for.
Say again, I'm sorry.
Mostly for.
Okay. What's the can I follow up on as the qualifier?
Yeah, I don't think that we're prepared to do what needs to be done in terms of if we get that money or if we don't get that money. I think we are unprepared.
Okay. Measure J. Measure J.
For clarification.
Council member.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's the TOT?
Yes.
Yes, I'm supportive of that.
Okay. Mayor.
Definitely supportive.
And Measure K. Mayor. Charter.
Yes, I'm for the charter. I'll just say it. There's too many good things in the charter that we're going to miss if we don't have it. I'll go down the list of some of the benefits of it. One is that it's going to permanently provide an open space preserve in the city that cannot be touched by future city council, or it can only be changed by the citizens. We're finally going to put a lifetime limit on how many years you can serve as mayor or the city council. I wish that in the charter it had been the current periods of time for service, but at least it puts a lifetime ban in place. It also requires that the city pass a balanced budget every year. And I don't mean just balanced, structurally balanced as well. It also requires that the city have a financial plan in place. So given everything that's offered by the charter, there's a lot more benefits in it. So with that, I am going to vote for the charter.
Council member.
I'm not going to vote for the charter, and I can give you several reasons why. The first of all is those term limits. Everything that the mayor just talked about, we could have done by ordinance. We did not need the charter to do it. And if we ever want to fix it again, we have to go back to the voters again and again and again. As my colleague, Council Gillenhammer said, the charter, what it looked like to him, and I agree with him, is that it was rushed. It was rushed. It did not have input from the community. Most cities, when they do a charter, they do a blue ribbon commission. They ask for stakeholders in the community to spend over a year to put something together. If you look at other cities' charters, they are enormous, and they come that way because there's so much work and thought put into them. In addition, while we were going through our debates, the protections the mayor talks about in terms of fiscal policy were stripped out. So there were policies in there specifically to protect the city budget process and to say no deficit spending whatsoever, and those were stripped out. They could have been left back in to show that we were serious about where we were going with our fiscal controls, hence my answer on the sales tax, but they were not. And with that, I just cannot vote for anything that's going to give near generational control
Time.
to the current council.
Thank you. Well, we are now near the end,
Wow.
and you will have a 1-minute opportunity to make a closing statement for 1 minute. And then we're going to have a lighter round of questioning, which I think we may enjoy more than you, but we'll get there. So, Mayor, let's go with you first on a closing statement.
All right, thanks, Ambassador. America can have all the best intentions in the world, but without principled compromise and consensus building, nothing is going to get accomplished. As mayor, I've proven to be a consensus builder. That's why we've accomplished so much, and that's why 4 of my colleagues have endorsed my reelection. I've also reached out to all of our elected representatives at the state and federal level, and they've delivered millions of dollars in appropriations to Orange, monies that could have gone to neighboring cities. That is why I have endorsements from both Democratic and Republican elected officials. I've poured my heart and soul into the tremendous responsibility of this position. Finally, I will honor the term limits in place. This will be my last run for political office. Please help me continue to get our city back on track so Orange continues to be the great city we all know and love.
Thank you, Mayor. Council member?
As I said in the beginning, Orange deserves someone who will fight for it. And not just for a few, but for everyone. We need a local city government that works for everyone in this city. And I'm sorry to say that that just currently isn't happening. On top of that, we need a government that is disciplined in its management, that has strong fiscal controls and is not afraid to stick to it, even when it's tough. When it's tough is when you need to stick to it the most. We need foundational, fundamental change in this city from top to bottom. Oftentimes I think about what happens if the sales tax doesn't pass. And then sometimes I think about it and I'm like, that'll be devastating. It will be awful. But you know what it also is? An opportunity. It's an opportunity to change everything, to fix it from the ground up. And then at the end of the day, we put residents first and we create a level playing field for the first time ever for businesses that want to come and be a part of Orange and contribute. I think that's important, and I would be honored to have your vote for mayor.
Thank you, council member. With that, we're going to go to a lightning round where we want to get to know you beyond the topics that we have discussed here in this forum so far. So, Mayor, we'll start with you. Your favorite author?
James Michener. I love the books Hawaii and Centennial.
Okay, council member, favorite author?
Well, I start with Jane Austen, but I'm a pretty big geek about Douglas Adams.
Okay. Council member, favorite OC beach?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought
Yep.
you were asking the mayor. I did not blank out, I promise. Newport Beach, specifically 32nd Street.
Mayor?
Main Beach, Laguna.
Okay, Mayor, favorite sports team?
Oh, good grief. Well, I'll have to go with the locals, the Angels.
Okay. Council member?
The Rams.
Say again?
The Rams.
Okay. Council member, favorite world leader?
Ooh, that's a great question. Do you want them to be alive or like, is it the whole history? What are you looking for? Just anybody? Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay. Mayor?
I think the new president of Hungary took on a very poor dictator type leader and won. And so that type of leadership is what I'm impressed with.
Is there a name?
I can't remember his name. It's Hungarian.
Okay. Mayor, favorite high school subject?
Probably geography. And that's because I love traveling and I've been to all 7 continents. I love geography.
Councilmember?
English journalism, and Mrs. Matthews, she still lives right down the street from me. She was my teacher and I love her dearly. And so, yeah, that was my favorite.
Coming back this way, Councilmember, favorite dessert?
Ooh, my mom's strawberry shortcake.
Okay, and she's in the room. She loves that. Yeah. Mayor?
Hot fudge sundae.
And Mayor, favorite vacation spot?
It would probably have to be Hawaii.
Councilmember?
A beach anywhere in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for the candidates for Mayor of Orange. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for being a great audience. And the next step is in our hands. In a democracy such as ours, voting is a privilege that all of us should exercise and do so with an understanding of candidates and issues as we have strived to do here tonight. As a product of Orange and an immediate family, including my wife and son who were born here in this great city, I am grateful for the quality of life and the uniqueness of our community. I have patrolled the streets of this city in a police car. I have represented this city on the Board of Supervisors, and our journey has taken us to other places in the world. But we've always come home to Orange because we love Orange. This is home and will always be. When I was growing up, and some of you are old enough to remember with me, that there was a broadcaster on KFI radio, Denis Bracken. And Denny Bracken, whenever he talked about Orange and referred to Orange, he would refer to it, and I quote, as the fairest in the Southland. Mr. Bracken passed away a long time ago, but Orange does remain the fairest in the Southland. I see it when I drive around the plaza, when I see the teeming and thriving crowds of children, of youth, the vintage shops that are sprouting everywhere, it seems, in downtown Orange, and so many good things happening. And in November, we will have the opportunity to have our voices be heard at the ballot box. I have been an observer to elections around the world in some oppressive environments and some very free democratic environments where the people have voted for their leadership. So I value the importance of casting the ballot. So I encourage you, let's vote, and let's encourage everyone we know to do the same. Thank you again for being a great audience. And now please join me in welcoming Mr. Adam Carr, who is the Orange Chamber Chairman of the Board, for some closing remarks. Thank you.
I can't help but notice the list of accolades in my introduction is quite a bit shorter than Gaddy's. On behalf of the Orange Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau, I want to thank each of our candidates for being here tonight and for their willingness to step forward and serve our community. Running for office requires a tremendous commitment of time, energy, dedication, and we appreciate your participation in tonight's conversation. I also want to thank everyone who joined us this evening. Forums like this are important because strong communities depend on informed and engaged residents, business owners, and community leaders. At the Chamber, our role is to create opportunities for meaningful dialogue, encourage civic engagement, and ensure that the voice of our business community is part of the conversation regarding Orange's future. We may not always agree on every issue, but we can agree that we all want Orange to remain strong, safe, vibrant, and an economically healthy community. Tonight, you heard directly from the candidates about their priorities, their perspectives, and their vision for our city. We encourage you to continue learning, ask questions, and most importantly, make your voice heard at the ballot box, just like Gaddy said. Thank you again to our candidates, our moderator, Ambassador Gaddy Vasquez, our sponsor, Rancho Santiago Community College District, our Chairman's Circle, and everyone who helped make tonight's forum possible. And thank you to all of you for caring about the future of Orange. Have a wonderful evening, and please remember to vote.